Imagine this. A once mighty nation, Israel, united under legendary kings like David and Solomon, suddenly splits into two. 10 of its tribes disappear without a trace, scattered across distant lands. What happened to them? Where did they go? And could their return signal the fulfillment of ancient prophecies? In the Bible, these 12 tribes held a special place in God's plan. But after years of rebellion and idolatry, 10 of them were exiled, scattered across the world. Today, groups from Ethiopia, India, Asia, and even the Americas claim to be descendants of these lost tribes. Could this be the beginning of something bigger? Could their reappearance fulfill prophecies written thousands of years ago? And what does that mean for us? In this video, we'll dive into the history of Israel's 12 tribes, how 10 were lost, and explore the modern-day groups who believe they descend from these tribes. But the real question is, could we be witnessing their prophesied return, and what does that mean for the end times? The origins of the 12 tribes of Israel. It all began with a man named Jacob, Abraham's grandson. Jacob had 12 sons, and after a life-changing encounter with God, he was given the name Israel, which means one who wrestles with God. These 12 sons became the heads of the 12 tribes of Israel, and each tribe inherited a portion of the Promised Land. Jacob's sons were Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, and Joseph. Though Joseph's two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, each received their own inheritance, and Benjamin rounded out the 12, the tribes together made up the nation of Israel. Judah and Benjamin settled in the southern part of the land, forming the kingdom of Judah. Meanwhile, the 10 other tribes, like Ephraim and Manasseh, made up the northern kingdom of Israel. But after Solomon's reign, things took a turn for the worse, and the nation split in two. The northern kingdom, Israel, quickly fell into idol worship, despite repeated warnings from prophets like Hosea and Amos. God's judgment came in 722 BC, when the mighty Assyrian Empire conquered Israel. As we see in 2 Kings 17 verse 6, the Assyrians deported the 10 northern tribes, scattering them far and wide across their empire. Over time, the identity of these tribes faded, earning them the title Lost Tribes of Israel. But are they truly lost? Or are they just waiting to re-emerge in God's perfect timing? The vanishing of the 10 tribes is one of the greatest unsolved puzzles in biblical history. After their dispersion, they seem to disappear. But the Bible, along with Jewish tradition, tells us that God did not forget them. Instead, they were scattered among the nations, waiting for the day of their return. Over the centuries, groups from around the world have claimed to be descendants of these lost tribes, holding on to Jewish customs and traditions that have been passed down through the generations. Some of these groups are well known, while others remain obscure. But they all share one common belief: they are connected to the ancient Israelites. Let's take a closer look at some of these remarkable groups. 1. Beta Israel, Ethiopian Jews. Perhaps one of the most well-known groups is Beta Israel, or the Ethiopian Jews, who believe they descend from the tribe of Dan. For thousands of years, this community maintained Jewish practices like keeping the Sabbath, observing kosher laws, and celebrating traditional Jewish festivals, even though they were isolated from the rest of the Jewish world. According to their traditions, they traced their journey from Israel to Ethiopia, where they established their own unique Israelite community. In the late 20th century, Israel recognized their claims, and tens of thousands of Ethiopian Jews were airlifted to Israel in operations like Moses, 1984, and Solomon, 1991. Could this be part of the prophetic return of Israel's exiles? 2. B'nai Israel, Indian Jews. The B'nai Israel community of Western India claims to be descendants of the tribe of Ephraim. According to their oral tradition, their ancestors survived a shipwreck off the coast of India, likely after the Assyrian exile. They preserved core Jewish customs, including circumcision and observing the Sabbath. In recent years, Many members of the B'nai Israel have moved to Israel, contributing to Israel's growing diversity. Could their journey back be a part of the fulfillment of prophecy? 3. Pashtun tribes, Afghanistan and Pakistan. The Pashtun, also known as Pathans, are an ancient group living in Afghanistan and Pakistan. They claim descent from the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh. Many of their customs, like circumcision on the 8th day and avoiding pork, resemble ancient Israelite practices. Some Pashtun tribes even carry names that sound like the tribes of Israel, such as Rabbani and Levani. While scholars still debate the authenticity of their claims, the persistence of these traditions is intriguing. Could the Pashtun be part of the long-lost northern tribes? 4. Igbo Jews, Nigeria. The Igbo people of Nigeria believe they descend from the tribes of Gad and Zebulun. They observe many traditions similar to Jewish customs, such as circumcision, dietary laws, and celebrating festivals. Though their connection hasn't been fully recognized, interest is growing in their possible Israelite origins. Some members of the Igbo community have even converted to mainstream Judaism and relocated to Israel, eager to reconnect with their heritage. 5. Lemba, Zimbabwe and South Africa. The Lemba people of southern Africa believe they are descendants of the tribe of Levi. Their practices, such as circumcision and observing dietary laws, closely align with Jewish tradition. DNA testing has even revealed that many Lemba carry the Cohen modal haplotype, a genetic marker linked to the priestly line of Aaron. Could this be evidence that the priestly tribe of Levi survived in these unexpected places? The Bible assures us that God has not forgotten the lost tribes. In Ezekiel 37, we see the famous vision of the Valley of Dry Bones, where God promises to reunite the tribes of Israel. In verse 22, God says, "I will make them one nation in the land, on the mountains of Israel. There will be one king over all of them, and they will never again be two nations." Isaiah 11 verse 12 also speaks of a second regathering. He will raise a banner for the nations and gather the exiles of Israel. He will assemble the scattered people of Judah from the four quarters of the earth. This prophecy points to a worldwide regathering of all of Israel's tribes. Today, we may be witnessing the start of this prophetic event with the return of groups like the Beta Israel and B'nai Israel. In Revelation 7, the 12 tribes are mentioned again, with 144,000 people, 12,000 from each tribe, sealed for protection during the Great Tribulation. This suggests that the lost tribes have an important role to play in the end times. The mystery of the lost tribes is not just an ancient curiosity, it's a key part of biblical prophecy. God has promised to restore these tribes and reunite them with Judah under the Messiah. As groups like Beta Israel and others come forward, we may be witnessing the beginning of their return. The lost tribes remind us that God's promises stand firm, and their reappearance may signal that the return of the Messiah is drawing near. If you found this dive into the lost tribes of Israel fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video. Stay tuned for more from Bible Truth Diggers, where we explore the connections between ancient prophecy and the events shaping our world today. Until next time, God bless